So time under tension is something that is a steep learning curve for a lot of people that just start this program. And so I'm going to explain it to you in detail, and you're going to have to really think about it during the first 1 or 2 weeks, but then after that it's going to become second nature to both read and do. So time under tension is how much time that you're in a position or a specific movement. So let's say I have you do 5 repetitions of a squat. If you're going up and down with 1 second down, 1 second up for 5 reps, that's very different than doing a 5-second down and 5-second up. And so someone may be moving slower in order to really feel their core control and get that motor control for that specific movement. And so we write time under tension, TUT, like this. It's an @ sign, and then it's a series of 4 numbers. Now let's just take that first air squat, for example, where we're going 1 second down and 1 second up. That's going to be written like this: 1, 0, 1, 0. The first number is always the eccentric portion. So I'm going to write E here for E. This is you going with gravity. So it doesn't matter if it's a squat or a push-up or a dip. You're going with gravity, meaning down. You're going to be using this first number, and that's in seconds. The second number is going to be the pause in the down position. So pause at the bottom of the squat, pause at the bottom of the dip, pause at the bottom of the push-up. In this case, we're not pausing at all. The third number is the concentric. So this is always going against gravity. And so for this example, we're taking 1 second to come up from a squat. If it was a push-up, it would take you 1 second to come up. And if it was a dip, it would take you 1 second to come up. And then the last number is the pause at the top. The pause at the top of the movement, the top of the squat, the top of the dip, or the top of the push-up. So these are pauses. So I'll write a small p there. And then remember, eccentric, pause, concentric, pause. Now let's take a row, for example. So explaining time under tension for a row is a little bit tricky because we start not at the beginning of the eccentric. We start at the concentric, right? So the weight's on the ground, you get set, shoulders back, exhale before you lift, and you're lifting. This is the concentric, you're going against gravity. And so if we wrote the time under tension here, 3, 0, 2, 2, what we'd do is we'd start on the concentric here. Remember, it takes 2 seconds to come up. Exhale, 1, 2. I'm going to hold for 2 seconds because I have a 2 here in the pause. 1, 2. And then move down, 1, 2, 3. So when you're reading the time under tension, make sure you're always reading eccentric with gravity, pause, concentric against gravity, and pause. There's some movements where this might be confusing, and so I'll specifically write it out. And there's some movements where this doesn't apply, like if you're doing movements that are for high repetition per breath, or that are just naturally dynamic, like a jump rope or something, and we wouldn't use time under tension. Hope this makes sense.